Today I did something that really made me feel like a man, a responsible man, mature, one who faces his obligations head on. So, what did I do with $700? Well, for a while, I've had this big bill looming in the back, right, haunting me. Now, I owe these folks, and if I'm obligated to pay, I don't mind paying, but this one bill I wanted to pay on my own time. And if you're like me, you face financial ups and downs. Now, it might not be extreme, but sometimes you just don't have the same stability or the same abundance. Lately, I have not been as abundant as I've been in the past. Just being honest. Maybe you can relate. Selfishly, I was letting my savings account accumulate because really I've been feeling insecure not having a substantial savings. And finally, my savings is starting to look substantial, but I know I owe these people some money. And I wanted to pay, but it's felt like getting ahead is like felt so difficult lately. Anyway, I had it in my mind that I was going to call these people up and give them what I owed, but I thought it'd just be an installment. I was kind of scared. I didn't know exactly what I owed, but based on the past, I estimated like $2,800. I was prepared to pay these folks in installments. I thought my first installment would be $700. And again, I don't have a problem paying, but the anxiety came from the thought of dipping into my savings account. Right? But anyway, I made the phone call. And when the lady got on the phone, I was like, hey, it's Dave. I owe you some money. And she was like, huh? What? It's Dave. I owe you. She said, oh, I've been trying to get in touch with you. I'm like, yeah, of course you have. And I thanked them. They haven't really hounded me. But she said, yeah, I've been trying to get in touch with you. So, she said, well, what you trying to do? I said, I got some money for you. I'm sorry. I know y'all running a business over there, but I'm ready to give you something. And then, I'm waiting for her to tell me the amount. And, sometimes like I'm not very combative, but I'm expecting, I'm prepared for a bit of a fight. Like I didn't know if she was going to say something big so I'm just ready. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm ready to be defensive, based on what she says. So she's like, well, let me look. And she's like typing and, getting some numbers together. Right now, I'm thinking I owe like $2,800. And again, I'm ready to tell her like, well, this is all I got for you. Take this $7. Man, don't you know that lady said, okay, well, and look, this bill was the accumulation of two pieces, two chunks. So I owe for this and owe for that. It's a seasonal thing. So she said, well, for that past, you owe $703. I said, right? Because I was ready to pay $7. She hit my number. And she said, and for the one that's due now, that's also $7. I said, man, she said, how you want to pay? I snatched that debit card up out my wallet so fast. I've never been happier to pay a bill. Is it because I love when money comes out of my account? No, the 700 is actually significant. That's substantial for me right now. But to take responsibility, to face a problem head on, to face a financial obligation head on, and without those folks calling you up, it's not like they were hounding me. So for you to initiate and handle something felt really good. So I wanted to pay, but like I said, I just wanted to do it on my own time. My fear was dipping into the savings account that I've finally been able to get to a substantial amount. You know, you feel naked when you don't have a savings. And that's how I've been for a while. I mean, like, I always have some money, but to have that dedicated savings, you know how it is when you have the savings account and you don't have a bill where they about to snatch your bread, where you feel like your savings and everything is in danger. It's like Jenga. You don't want people to snatch that block right out the bottom, because that's attached to your security and you're feeling the stability. So anyway, she said 7 and 7. I snatched that debit card out. They ran it. Yo, I actually felt like hurry up and run it before you change your mind. I didn't want her to say, you know what? It's not 700. It's actually 12. I'm like, hurry up and run it so we can get this done, stamped in the books. So she ran it and she said, when you going to take care of the rest? I said, give me like 2-3 weeks. So those are really like the only big chunks I have to deal with. You know, luckily in my life, I have my finances where I don't have like a lot of big chunks coming out, you know. And I might give y'all some details about this thing, but I'm trying to wrap this thing up so I don't have to deal with it in the future. The moral of this story is don't stick your head in the sand, because a lot of times the fear of what you have to face is bigger than the actual problem. You know, I didn't want to dip into my savings, and I didn't have to. And the total debt wasn't even what I thought it was. So, you know, you run around ducking people and ducking creditors. We're like, yo, just pay it. You'll feel better. The freedom I have, you know, the power, the empowerment of like knocking something out gives you the confidence to face more of the nonsense going forward. But if you're real smart, that anxiety will cause you to incur less debt and less obligations going forward. And that's really where I'm headed. So I'm so happy that the bill wasn't big, because, man, I'm headed somewhere. You know, we could go wherever we want. It's just a matter of patience and diligence and vision. And if you could keep that vision, in your mind as you inch forward, like there'll be a point where you look up and it's like, okay, everything is good. The next thing I'm really working on, so this is like Operation Don't Disturb the Savings. And the next threat to my savings would probably be a problem with my car, where my car is in decent shape. I've had like a few accidents these past few months. Like, people hit me, they didn't have insurance, they took off. I have to tell you all those stories. Like, people hit and run. And so to mitigate against that, I'm going to do a separate savings just for the car. I won't have a crazy amount of money, maybe $1,000, maybe a little less than 1,000. My car repairs aren't usually that expensive, but I figure about $1,000 would get me like a week of Uber rides and, you know, labor and parts for anything my car would need. So I'm gonna put up maybe like between $700 and $1,000 just for the car. So now we good. We have an account just for the car, right? And then you have like a main savings account. Mine is earmarked for an investment, you know. And just do your thing. I know some people have different methods of saving. Some people call them buckets, where like I put this here for that, I put that for that. However you want to organize it, get on top of it and pay those folks. I know I was wrong for trying to like stack my savings while owing people. But, you know, sometimes you gotta get it how you can, man. That's security. You know, they say a lot of people, I forget the percentage, but a lot of people aren't prepared for a $1,000 emergency. That can't be me. I don't want to be the person who like $1,000 upsets my life, yo. I don't want you to be that person either, yo. So let's stay on top. Let's face our fears. If we owe people, let's call them up and get them paid. You know what I'm saying? And feel proud, feel good to pay. That's manhood, that's womanhood, that's adulthood, that's responsibility. And there's a sense of calm peace and power that comes with handling your business. And that is what I did with $700. Talk to y'all soon.